Okay, it looks like we are live. Let me just pull you up on my YouTube channel so that I can see if there's any comments. If you come on, say hi. Excuse me, we're going to be working with Deco Mesh today, and we're going to be making a teacher sign. It's an order from Etsy, and I'm going to be making the sign using my Cricut. Just want to make sure that you can hear me. Yeah, that's all. Okay, as you come on, say hi, let me know that you can hear me okay, and then I'm going to get started. My name is Lorraine with CraftyTherapybyL. I'm just going to angle you down a little bit more if I can. Okay. So I have an order for a teacher wreath for the classroom. It's going to be a welcome sign. And this was from my Etsy shop. I made a couple of these this week and I've shipped them out. School is starting. So I'm getting more orders. So I want to get this out today so that hopefully the teacher will get it before school starts. If you're new here, my name is Lorraine with CraftyTherapybyL. It's been a while since I've gone live on my YouTube channel, so I figured the house is quiet. My kids are still sleeping, or some of them are. So I figured I would take you along and show you how I make this wreath. So I'm using today a 12-inch wreath frame. This is a little bit smaller because it's for a classroom. So they don't need them big and overwhelming, but you can definitely use this on your regular front door also. It's still going to be a nice size. I believe I got this wreath frame from Michael's, and I know they also sell them at Walmart this size, and probably Hobby Lobby too. You just want to make sure that you have 6 sections. I forget what store it is. One of them sells it with 5 sections, and then once you go put your ribbons on, it messes up the pattern. So mine has 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm talking about sections here. So just something to keep in mind when you're shopping for your supplies. Right now I'm adding my pipe cleaners on, and I have other videos that I go very slowly and show you how I like to add them. You can also buy these frames with the twist ties already on, but I prefer to add my own just so that I space it out exactly how I want. And sometimes when you buy the frames already made, they don't come with an even number. You'll have like 7 in the middle and 9 on the outside. And that doesn't work well for me. You end up having 2 patterns of ribbons next to each other. So this just takes a minute. Adding my pipe cleaners, I also am able to control what color ties I'm using. So I chose blue because I'm going to be using blue Deco Mesh. So I have 6 on the outside, 6 on the inside. Now we're going to cut our mesh. This is a 10-inch roll of Deco Mesh, and I'm going to be cutting it just at about 20 inches. You can see my self-healing mat is quite worn at the 20 inches because that's pretty much where what I use all the time. So I'm going to cut 12 pieces of this. I prefer using my self-healing mat and my rotary cutter rather than using my scissors because you'll have much less fraying. I don't use a wood burner. I find if I have a sharp rotary cutter, I don't handle the mesh too much. I really don't have a lot of fraying. And I don't want the smells of the wood burner. I know a lot of people use it, but I work inside in my dining room, so I prefer not to use a wood burner. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 3 more. 10, up, 11, 12. Okay, I just use this little block just to hold it open. Makes it easier for me. Make sure you close your rotary cutter so when you pick it up next time you don't cut yourself. And we're going to be doing the ruffle method. So I'm taking my cut edge, I'm going to the middle, and I'm doing teeny tiny gathers all the way to the other side. And I pinch the middle, make sure my two sides are fairly even. I open a pipe cleaner on the outside. I always do the outside first, and I add it. And I'm tying it nice and tight, twisting it 2 or 3 times, and folding over the middle. Now we're going to go to the next one. Each tie is going to have one of these ruffles. So again, this is cut at 20 inches. You can cut them 18 inches, you can cut them 22 inches, whatever you feel you need for your design. 20 inches generally works pretty well for me. Sometimes I'll go up to 22 inches if I need a little bit more of a base for a heavy sign. So teeny tiny gathers straight up the middle. Doesn't come out right, release it and do it again. You want to make sure that your sides are fairly even. And when you're done, you're just gonna, you can give it a little tug if they didn't come out even. Just be careful with that because the deco mesh can rip. Just keep going all the way around. Have any questions, leave them down in the comments. If I don't see them now, I do go back and read the comments and answer them. So twist it 2 or 3 times. We want to leave our pipe cleaners as is right now because we're going to go back and add our ties to them. I've been making wreaths for almost 6 years now. I primarily sell on Etsy, also on Facebook, and I do about 2 to 3 craft shows a year. I've got a big one coming up in September. We call it the mother of all craft fairs, Argyle Craft Fair in Babylon, New York. That's a really great one. Very, very busy, well attended. So the next couple of weeks I'm going to be very much focused on my stock to bring there. And then I also do a holiday one, St. Anthony's in Huntington, New York. These are both on Long Island. If I tell from my accent. Okay, so the outside is done. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the inside. My Etsy shop is busy enough that it keeps me busy, that I don't need to do more craft fairs that most of them just really aren't that great, honestly, for all the work. They're a lot of work by the time you get your tent and you pack your car, and the hours to set up and the hours to break down. I apologize if you hear my phone beeping. I'm pretty sure I turned off the sound, so I'm not sure why that's coming through. Let me know if your kids have started school. We start after Labor Day in our district. But I know a lot of the southern schools have already started. I see some pictures of friends down in Florida, and today's their first day of school. I know some have already been in for a couple of weeks. We're still enjoying our summer here for another couple of weeks before the craziness starts. I've been working on filling my Etsy shop with lots of fall and Halloween designs. I also work with my son, who is a carpentry student in school, and he has started a nice little business for himself. He does a lot of woodworking projects. He sells the Mark It Up that you bring to parties, the Mark It Up cups. He makes hat boxes for hat storage. Those were really, really popular this year for Father's Day, and I just think that they will be again for Christmas and the holidays. Lots of signs. He makes PVC plant hangers. Those you can all take a look in my Etsy shop. CraftyTherapybyL. Last one. Goes pretty quickly. So we've been on, can I tell how long we've been on? No, it doesn't tell me, but about 11 minutes. So 11 minutes, and I have made my own wreath base with the pipe cleaners, and I've cut my mesh, and I've added my mesh. Obviously, when I first started, it took me much longer than that. I've already cut my ribbons. I'm using 4 different ribbons. I've got 2 2.5-inch ribbons and 2 1.5-inch ribbons, and I've cut these at 12 inches. I cut them anywhere from 12 to 14 inches. So I'm lining them up in the middle. I'm folding it over so the pattern side is facing up. You can tell this side it does not have the pattern. So the pattern side is facing up. I pinch the middle so that my tails are even. And now I'm going to add it right to the outside pipe cleaner. I'm twisting it in 2 or 3 times. I give it a little fluff out, and you can see everything's facing out. Nothing's facing into the middle. And now I'm going to go to my second pattern. I'm lining them up, folding it over, pinching the middle. My tails are now even, and I'm going to add it to the next pipe cleaner on the outside. Twisting it 2 or 3 times. Now I'm going to go back to the first one, and I just do that all the way around. Teacher ribbon has been very hard to get. The 1.5-inch teacher ribbon. I'm not sure what happened this year. I've searched everywhere. And it's just wired ribbon for teacher theme, school theme. Has been not out there. I don't know what happened. I'm actually thinking that I might need to invest in some of the unwired ribbon, because I can find that, but I would never use unwired on a wreath. It just flops around. And bring it to a seamstress and have it sewed onto a wired ribbon. I've got a sewing machine. I don't know how to work it. Sitting down there collecting dust. But yeah, that's my next plan, because I can't find a nice ribbon that I like. Definitely make sure that you're using quality ribbon. You want to make sure it's wired, that it's nice and stiff. So when you do that, it holds its shape. See that? It's holding its shape. Okay, so the outside is done. Now I'm going to move to the inside. I don't worry about, trying to stagger them, because eventually they do meet up with the patterns down below. So just pick a spot and keep going. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to see where these videos land, all over the country, all over the world. Let me know if you're a wreath maker, if you're a teacher. This weekend we had a fall wreath class here at my house. I host them a couple of times a year. That was a lot of fun. The ladies had never made a wreath, and they did great. One, after she left the class, she went right over to Hobby Lobby in our town and picked up more supplies, went home, and made another wreath for herself. That's pretty exciting that she was able to pick up all the techniques and then do it on her own an hour later. Okay, last one. You can go back on my videos. I have lots of videos on just cutting mesh and just making the wreath frames, just cutting the ribbons. So now I'm taking my wire cutters. I love these. They're nice and sharp. And I'm cutting it just above where I last twisted, because we no longer need these. When you're using wire cutters, make sure you're cutting towards the tip, not at the bottom. Otherwise they don't work as well. And the ones on the outside. And you can see the blue pipe cleaners that I've chosen just blends nicely into the mesh. Okay, and then I'm just going around and I'm tucking them in. Tucking the pointy, sharp edges in. I don't want anybody scratching themselves when they pick it up. And you can see all my ribbons are facing outwards, okay? They are all together right now, and I will fluff them in the ends. But now I need to make my sign. I'm using a small chalkboard, and I've used my Cricut, and I'm making a welcome sign. This kind of got a little bit messed up when I pulled it off the mat, but that's okay. Just go slow. If you have a Cricut, let me know. Do you use it? Are you scared of it? It was definitely a learning curve for me when I first got it. It took me months really, and then I found some great YouTube videos on how to use it, and now I use it to make a lot of my signs. I'm going to take a piece of transfer. This is actually the top of an HTV. I save all of that. I reuse this. You can tell how many times I've reused this over and over. I actually prefer the ones that are very well used. they work better for me. They're not so sticky. So I'm just transferring it onto the paper. I'm gonna slowly peel it back, make sure everything stays down. And then when I'm done with this, I take just the sticky paper and then I clean up my area. It works well. Okay. I've already cleaned my chalkboard with some alcohol. And now I'm just lining it on the mat with the lines to keep it straight. That looks about center. Rub it on and slowly just peel it back. And then I will take this and just go like this. Since I'm pretty much done and it picks up and cleans my area nicely of all the little wire from the cutting the pipe cleaners and cutting the ribbon. And then I just throw it out. Since I use that a lot, so that one's ready to go. All right, so I do have a little bubble here. So I'm taking my weeding pen, which I absolutely love, and I'm just going underneath. If I can get it, it's sort of in the middle of this one. Just gonna peel that up. Tweezers is another handy tool that I always keep handy. I use that a lot. So that's good. Sign is ready to go. I'm gonna get my stapler. And I'm actually out of blue. That was my last of my blue pipe cleaners. So I'll go to black. And I just staple it. Just checking it did not go through. My sign is thick enough. I prefer to staple whenever I can. I prefer not to hot glue anything. I don't trust it. I don't care what brand you use. If you have a hot southern door, things can melt off. Okay, so let's see, this is gonna be taking my pipe cleaners, I'm shoving it right through the mesh. I'm not moving the mesh, I'm going right through the mesh. It actually gives it a little support. And I have one hand on top pushing it through and the other one is on the bottom feeling for the pipe cleaners to come through. And I'm tying it right onto the frame. And you go all the way around. I'm not pulling it very tight, I'm not sinking it in. It's sitting right on top of my mesh and right on top of my ribbons. I also make these wreaths with a personalized sign. Welcome to Mrs. Smith's classroom. Welcome to music. All that can be ordered through my Etsy shop. Sometimes you gotta fight with it to get it through. Just take your time. Okay. So you can see I have it tied right onto the frame. Now I'm going to trim my pipe cleaners so that it doesn't scratch the door. You could probably get away with doing 2 pipe cleaners to attach to the frame, but I always like 4. Just it stays well, it doesn't move, shift around. Now the last part is just going around and fluffing the ribbons. I always do thick, thin, thick, thin. I make sure that they're curved down. This really fills out the wreath. And same thing on the bottom. Some people leave their ribbons together, like, you know, sitting on top of each other. I like to display all of the patterns of the ribbon. That's why I like to spread them out. I think it fills out the wreath. You can see all the colors and designs. If you're just joining me, hello, welcome. My name is Lorraine with CraftyTherapybyL. I am just finishing up a teacher wreath that's going to be shipped out this morning from my Etsy shop. You can go back and watch the replay. And there we have it. So we used blue deco mesh cut at 20 inches. We have our 4 different ribbons also cut at 12 inches. We made our chalkboard sign using my Cricut. And this was a 12-inch wreath frame. It's backwards to you, but the welcome sign is truly the right way. Hopefully you enjoyed this and you learned something. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. I do have a lot of other videos that you can go back and take a look. And I do plan to come, especially that schools will be starting soon. I will have a little bit more free time to come on live and do some more craft projects, especially I'll be getting ready for some fall craft fairs. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will go back and answer them. Have a great day.